talking trash.
They're all gonna laugh at
The evil is free.
you! In her soul, Jesus, common as dirt!
Hello.
Cinema de Merde.
Hey, this is Scott from Cinema de Merde, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite movies, The Phantom of the Paradise. This is from 1974, is directed by Brian De Palma, stars William Finley, Paul Williams, Jessica Harper, and Garrett Grant. Now, I pretty much worship Brian De Palma. I find everything he does fascinating, even when it doesn't entirely work. This movie is after Sisters, but before Obsession and Carrie, so it's early De Palma. And it's a rock musical version of The Phantom of the Opera with a little bit of Faust thrown in. And if you like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which this preceded, by the way, or really any rock musical, you owe it to yourself to check it out. We open with this intro voiced by Rod Serling showing the Death Records logo.
This film.
It was originally Swan Song Records, but the people from Led Zeppelin sued, so they had to go through and change it. We then join a performance of the Juicy Fruits, this 50s nostalgia band in the Sha-Na-Na vein, who sing a song, a good song, that tells the story of Eddie, the singer that killed himself knowing his stardom would skyrocket after his death, leaving his family enough money to pay for an operation for his sister. Okay, rock music and death. Right at the beginning, the connection is made. Then music mogul Swan hears the music of Winslow Leach and sends his henchmen down to gather
2 or 3 really good up numbers.
But it turns out that all the songs are part of this cantata entitled Faust that Winslow is adamant that only he can sing. Nevertheless, the henchman takes the music. A month passes and Swan is planning to open the Paradise, a rock club. Winslow wanders into auditions where he meets Jessica Harper of Suspiria as Phoenix. He tells her that he wrote the music she's singing and finds out that Swan is going to use it to open the Paradise with.
He's opening the Paradise with my cantata?
Yes, isn't that great?
Gee, I wish he'd told me.
Swan's guards are going to throw Winslow out, but he follows Phoenix as she's brought up to meet Swan, basically in a harem of women for Swan's sexual enjoyment. Winslow makes it into the harem, disguised as a woman. Swan sees him and says,
"Get this fag out of here."
Swan is played by Paul Williams, legendary songwriter of the Rainbow Connection from the Muppet movie, We've Only Just Begun, and Rainy Days and Mondays for the Carpenters, You and Me Against the World, An Old-Fashioned Love Song, amongst others. And he also wrote all the songs for this movie. Anyway, so Winslow's thrown out, escapes, has drugs planted on him, is thrown in jail, escapes from jail, and returns to the record plant to retrieve his music. He's set to destroy the mold for the records when he accidentally activates the press, slips and falls in, and has his own music literally burned into the side of his face. It's just the kind of thing that could happen every day. Hideously disfigured, he stumbles out to the river, falls in, and is reported dead in the papers. We now begin the story. That's right, the first 23 minutes was just a prelude. So while we're at this natural stopping point, let's pause to discuss. A friend that I made watch this movie with me, a De Palma neophyte, turned to me at this point and said, "What is with these images?" Which is probably the ideal response. And it's true, every image for long sections is like a smack in the face. You're constantly shocked anew, and it actually begins to erode your ability to follow the story. And this is where De Palma does his special magic, because so much of it is so cheesy, yet one feels that De Palma knows that, is parodying it, and at the same time is completely sincere about it all. You feel for this hopelessly idiotic and trusting Winslow as he's beaten and burned and left for dead, his life's artistic work stolen, but at the same time, his slipping and falling into the record press is nothing but ridiculous. Such is the mysterious fizz of the De Palma film. Now, everything from this point on can be considered a spoiler. But I guarantee you that no matter how much you know about this movie, there will still be several things about it to surprise you. So part 2 begins with The Phantom. That's Winslow sneaking into the Paradise. The Beach Bums are performing this song that's a popped-up version of the intense personal song that Winslow sang at the beginning. Swan has stolen his music and made an idiotic pop song out of it. The Phantom puts a bomb in this car that's going to go on stage, and then we go split screen. Aw yeah! Swan is gratifyingly shocked, and the Phantom has announced his presence in the Paradise. Swan continues holding auditions, and Phoenix shows up, defensive that she wants to sing, i.e. not join the harem. The Phantom tells Swan that Phoenix can sing his music because his own voice is ruined. She can be his voice, and Swan cuts him a deal. Winslow can finish his cantata for Phoenix to sing. Before we go on, mention must be made of the ludicrous dance Phoenix launches into upon completion of her song. Okay, so the Phantom and Swan make this deal, and Swan produces, out of the blue, this huge contract as thick as a telephone book.
You don't have to. Here's a contract.
We know he's signing a pact with the devil, and that's that then. By the way, it's interesting to know that the voice we hear as the Phantom singing is actually Paul Williams. So Paul Williams, the actor, is stealing his own voice from someone else. Whoa, it's so meta. Meanwhile, the Phantom, that's Winslow, is in a chamber that visually suggests he is literally being drained of his music. Meanwhile, Swan has selected Beef, the metal god that he will choose as his new act. Beef is this blonde beefcake who is all macho swagger on stage, but a squealing queen anywhere else. He complains that the Phantom's music is written for a woman, but Swan tells him that
You can sing it better than any bitch.
Meanwhile, the Phantom's finished his work. Swan takes it and bricks him up in his composing chamber.
What was that?
You gotta love such sniveling villainy. No surprise then, the Phantom escapes. The Phantom corners Beef in a shower scene that is a hilarious Psycho parody, then puts a toilet plunger over his mouth and tells him that no one can sing his music but Phoenix, and anyone else who tries to will die. Beef runs out the back in this bright red jacket with white trim and shiny black gloves.
I am a professional.
But the henchmen force him to go back in and perform. So it's the opening of the paradise. Beef appears in this Dr. Caligari-inspired stage and enacts this whole Frankenstein scenario. There's a great technical moment as his coffin is lowered on the stage and the Phantom rises up in the foreground. The Phantom slides a neon lightning bolt at Beef, which electrocutes him right on stage, and the crowd goes wild. They then thrust Phoenix out on stage to perform, and she sings this beautiful ballad called Old Souls. That's one of the highlights of the movie.
This love affair was started long ago.
She brings down the house, and now Swan wants to sign her in a contract and steal her voice. Those unsure of how comfortable De Palma is with edging into ridiculousness will receive ample evidence as the screen blacks out to a little circle around Phoenix's face, having achieved her dream of stardom. I'm going to leave the fantastic rock explosion that closes the movie for you to discover. So it's all over and good. One is overwhelmed by all the levels of irony this thing is simultaneously working on. Each element, from the story to the acting to the music to the technique, being wholly sincere and a mocking satire. But he is at every moment letting you know exactly what he's doing, if you're paying attention. Packing a ton of information into every frame and making every camera movement mean something. If you're into the enjoyment of movies as well as how they're put together, you can't have a better companion than De Palma. This particular movie is a fun blast of massive, over-the-top cheesiness, a classic story, some really great rock and musical sequences. You really can't go wrong with this one. Once more, this is Scott from Son of a Demerit, where you'll find lots of more reviews of bad movies and quite a few good movies, and reviews and links and pictures and video casts and podcasts and all sorts of stuff. Go there now. It's CINEMADEMERDE.com. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out some of my other video casts, and you better go get this movie. Don't make me come out there and kick your ass.